The gym is a place where all kinds of people come together, and I think that the split you choose says a lot about who you are as a person. Because the guy that does a powerlifting split will never be the guy that trains with yoga balls. So here's what your split says about you. CrossFit. The upper-lower split. You're either 1 month into the gym or 7 years deep. There is low-cannulaly no in between. You're either still trying to figure out which cable attachment does what, or you're the strongest person in the building. You probably work a blue-collar job and pull up to the gym straight after your shift, still in dirty work clothes. You're rushing through your sets, thinking about the 5-pound steak your wife is cooking up at home. You're in and out in 45 minutes, while everyone else is still doing their warm-up. And on the off chance that you're a science-based lifter, you will not stop explaining to people why upper-lower is the superior split. The whatever isn't sore split. You know your body pretty well, but this isn't exactly the most efficient way to make progress. Unless the gym is a side thing for you, and you mainly train an entirely different sport. You're the type of person to walk in with zero plan every single time, and improvise the whole session on spot. Your diet is the exact same as your training, whatever you feel like. You drink 1,000-calorie coffee for breakfast every day, and somehow you're still doing fine. You still show up consistently though, which puts you ahead of a lot of people. The bro split. You are deep into bro science, and you have been for years. You've been doing chest on Monday since the last decade, and you don't plan on changing anything. You have the classic build. The one that makes people ask, why are you wearing sweatpants in 90-degree weather? Most likely, you are the modern hybrid athlete. Shoulders at 10 AM and Tito's at 5 PM. You only do rest days when the hybrid training evening part gets to you. You might be on a little something extra, but we're not here to judge. The gains are real either way. Push-pull legs. You learned this on TikTok about a year into training, and you've been on it ever since, convinced you cracked the code. You are definitely a science-based lifter. You know the optimal rep range. You have very strong opinions on training frequency, and you know the difference between RPE and RIR. You try to follow a strict chicken and rice diet, bulking and cutting throughout the year. You are more disciplined than most people. Push, pull, skip. You also found a PPL on TikTok, but you modified the split a little bit to your liking. The science-based lifting isn't for you. You're more of a ego lifter if we're being honest. You take way too long in the gym, because you rest 5 minutes between every single set scrolling your phone. The potential is there, but you're just a little too lazy. You could be built different if you just locked in a little more. Maybe one day. Full body. You're new, and that's completely fine. You don't really know what else to do yet, so you just do everything in one session and hope for the best. Zero plan, but you're still showing up, and that's low-key the hardest part. In about 6 months you're going to discover PPL and think you've unlocked some revolutionary secret. Enjoy this phase while it lasts, because once you go down the gym rabbit hole, you are never coming back out. Random HIIT workouts. You're either a mom of two, or you're the second coming of David Goggins. Very rarely something in between those two. You either train purely for health benefits, or because you've decided you're going to be the one that's gonna carry the boats and the logs. You train 7 days a week, with 10 times the intensity of a regular person's workout. You've probably already have everything else in your life figured out. You look at the gym bros sitting around on their phones between sets with complete and total disgust. The Arnold split. You wish you were born in the 70s. You think bodybuilding was peaked during the golden era, and has been going downhill ever since. Arnold Schwarzenegger is your guy, regardless of everything that's come out about him over the years. You are in possession of at least one black and white golden age bodybuilding poster. You're probably doing way too much volume, but nonetheless your physique is very respectable. The whatever Jeff Nippert is doing. You are probably the most science-based lifter in your entire gym, and possibly on the entire earth. You spend more time outside the gym reading hypertrophy studies than you actually do training. You have switched programs 5 times this year, and every single time you were completely convinced it was the most optimal choice. You are the nerd of the gym, and there's nothing wrong with that. You'll probably outlift everyone in the building eventually, and get smarter by doing so. The guys, I made my own split. You will tell everyone and their gram about your custom split, but 9 times out of 10, it's just PPL with shoulders thrown into pull day for some reason, and you've convinced yourself it's revolutionary. You love the gym, you're just not educated enough on the subject yet to build something genuinely good. On the off chance that you actually did put together a solid program, you're probably 225 lean, and most gym rats have huge respect for you. The split changer. You couldn't even tell me what program you're currently on. You have a severe case of shiny object syndrome. Every time a new split shows up on your Instagram feed, you're switching to it immediately. You haven't been consistent for longer than 3 months in your entire gym career. You may have some potential for a nice physique, but you're too lazy to stick to something for a substantial amount of time. On a side note, you've probably had 5 different girls in the past year as well. Commitment overall just isn't your thing. The permanent deload. You've somehow been deloading for 3 weeks now. You're likely thinking of quitting altogether, but you know that if you fully stop showing up, people will start to ask questions. This honestly happens to most serious gym goers at some point. You push yourself for too long without a break, and your mind just stops cooperating. It's okay. If you power through this, the motivation will come back eventually. The Powerlifting 531. You are strong. Embarrassingly strong. You don't care about how you look, you only care about the numbers. That's why you eat like a typical American. You get a flood of dopamine whenever someone asks you what your max bench is, and you get to tell them some insane number. You have an injury all the time. You just choose to ignore it as much as you possibly can, because you don't want to give up lifting for 2 weeks. You also spend way too much time at the gym, but nobody's going to tell you that. The 2 times a day. You think you are Arnold. The issue being is that you're missing one very key component of Schwarzenegger's program. With this much volume and 0 assistance, you've made very little actual progress in the last year, and you are exhausted every single day. You fall asleep anytime there's a quiet moment to sit down. The dedication is admirable. Just maybe consider taking your mom's advice to slow down, and just see what happens. The summer split. 2 weeks before summer, you suddenly rediscover ab exercises and cardio, after an entire year of eating gummy bears and McDonald's. Of course you waited until Monday to start the diet, because you can never just start now. You are a procrastinator, but you get shit done. You'll be shredded by July, and repeat the process from September. You're the type of person to procrastinate a 5-minute school assignment until 3 AM. By the way, you should work on getting that screen time down. The winter arc. You only lock in when it's cold outside, and nobody really knows why. You make really good progress every single winter, and then completely vanish when summer hits. You bulk way too aggressively, and then cut way too hard, and end up losing half the muscle you spent months building. The discipline is clearly there, it's just oddly exclusively seasonal. New Year's resolution. A fully committed gym bro for the entirety of January, and a distant memory by the first week of February. You have no real discipline, only saying you will do great things and then quitting right after the motivation is gone. If you're this guy, I'm sorry to say this to you, but this mentality will not get you far. At the end of the day, whatever split you're on, the fact that you're showing up is already more than most people can say. Unless you're the New Year's resolution guy. In that case, we'll see you in January. Comment what split you're on and whether I got it right. Subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.